It was a group of us coworkers inside of our office, and we got tired of waiting for union leadership to lead us. So as a collective, we picked the date, we picked the location, we picked the action.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Let's see. Let's take a look at the chat. Haven't been looking at the chat very much today. Jose says, Means TV is great. Love watching Means Morning News. I think that's a regular for Adam as well.
Absolutely, yeah. If you're in the market for a, pretty short, 15, 20-minute, typically, daily news show. I say daily. It's not necessarily every day, but, several days a week. Just a really good rundown of the news from, a very solid analytical perspective. And so, yeah, that's something I always recommend to folks, rather than waste your time with some of the mainstream media. Tune into Means Morning News.
Yeah.
Check it out. 20 minutes and you'll get a good overview of what's going on. And you can support worker-owned media, which is really cool.
And you can get 20% off with promo code TVLR. Palace Real says, glad to have the holiday off. This is a great way to start my 3-day weekend. Glad to start it off with you. Steve says, I always lean towards documentaries when wanting to show union movies. Norma Ray and Matewan, even in dubious battle, they're still fiction. Harlan County, USA is on YouTube. People were still dying to support unions even in the 70s. Yeah.
Harlan County, USA is a must-watch.
Yes.
If you have not seen it, it is excellent. It is one of the best documentaries I've probably ever watched about any subject. It's very powerful. The story of coal miners in Kentucky organizing in the 70s. There's also, in the backdrop, internal battles within the UMWA around, reform, democratic reform. So there's just a lot to it. Very, very fascinating film. Any unionist who hasn't seen it, definitely check it out. Harlan County, USA.
Gus says the UE features prominently in a large portion of Fragile Juggernaut, a podcast series on the history of the CIO. That's a really great podcast. And then Gus also says, rumor has it the UE might have a local in Portland soon. That would be very cool.
Fragile Juggernaut is a really good series alongside Organized the Unorganized.
Mm-hmm.
They both came out kind of around the same time.
Yep. One by Haymarket, the other by Jacobin.
Yeah, covering some of the same material, but with some different voices, different historians and other folks involved. Definitely recommend both of those podcasts. Great history about the 1930s upsurge, as well as sort of the background of what went into that, along with some of the aftermath and the decline of labor.
Steve says that Bill mentioned TVLR in his workshop the other night. Very cool. I didn't know that Bill was doing a workshop the other night.
Yeah.
Glad that he mentioned us.
Yeah, Bill Berry, great labor educator out there. He's always doing workshops online. Regularly see that typically through Labor's Bookstore, which is another good resource if you're not familiar with it. Labor's Bookstore, it is what it sounds like. There's plenty of labor books you can get, including like really reasonably priced Welcome to the Union pamphlets that I have been stocking up on. But also they offer all sorts of training online. Bill Berry is one of the brothers doing that. Trainings on arbitration, getting a first contract, all sorts of things. So Labor's Bookstore, another good resource for folks to check out.
Quirky Geek Girl says the Canada postal strike is on a no overtime for now, but a work stoppage could still happen. And said they were forced back to work because it was Christmas and the negotiations would continue in May. That's crazy. They've been without a contract for almost a year because negotiations keep getting extended. Yeah, that's insane. Terrible. All solidarity with the Canadian postal workers. Let's get to the phones. We got a couple of folks on the line. If you want to get where they are, you can call in 844-899-TVLR. The first in line is from a 617 area code. 617 area code. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is John Murphy. I'm calling from Naples, Florida.
John from Florida. What's on your mind?
Hey, I just want to give a quick shout out real quick to the Boston Build a Fighting NELC chapter. July 6th, they're doing a public screening of Matewan film. If you're in Massachusetts or Rhode Island, get in contact with them. Their email is bfnboston@gmail.com. But I was calling also in regards to June 4th. June 4th in Naples, Florida. Branch 4716 Naples letter carriers and Marco Island letter carriers are uniting to pressure Senator Rick Scott to oppose these federal reforms, and also to get our Congressperson Byron Donalds to reverse his stance on the attacks. So we're going to be rallying outside their offices June 4th, 4:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Naples, Florida. So if anyone's in Florida, reach out to us. My email is nextgenerationcarriers@gmail.com. If anyone is in any other state that wants to mobilize, please do.
Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tblr.fm/donate.
For anyone that didn't listen last week, it was a group of us coworkers inside of our office, and we got tired of waiting for union leadership to lead us. So at the collective, we picked the date, we picked the location, we picked the action. And then today, we did a consensus, right? It's not just one person doing all this, it's a group. As UE mentioned, like, we need to build class consciousness, class struggle unionism. So during break time in our office, it was a 10-minute break, we had a discussion. This is Florida. This is a very deep red state. Naples is very Republican. Inside my post office is probably 75% Republicans. So the little group of us, those 6 of us, we came to a consensus. And the question was, do we reach out to the Democratic Party, or will that be too divisive? It is down party line, but to build a working class movement, you need the working class to stand with you. And that's a big question, right? So the consensus was to reach out to the Democratic Party. So if you're listening, and if you're a Democratic Party member from Naples, I'll be sending you an email tonight. But yeah, the question is, it's like, how do we fight back? And it starts on the shop floor. We need to build a movement. And right now we're all fractured, as UE was saying, like, they're not part of the AFL-CIO. So June 4th, we're rallying. I reached out to the Central Labor Council, the Southwest Florida Central Labor Council. They're fully on board. I reached out to NOW, the National Organization of Women of the Southwest Florida chapter. They're fully on board. So we're moving forward with this. Just this past Wednesday, we brought the motion to our union to actually endorse it. Like I said, we didn't wait for our leadership. And I encourage all your listeners to start owning our unions. Because if we keep going down this road, we might not have a union. And what are we going to tell our kids? What are we going to tell our grandkids in the future? Like, when the question comes up, like, what did you do to prevent these cuts? And if we say nothing, it's our fault. And then listeners from the northern states, like, I grew up in Boston, and I didn't really understand, like, how much religion plays into the South. And during break time, we were talking about, like, who can we have standing with us, right? It's better to have more people standing shoulder to shoulder with us than standing against us. And there's a lot of religious people that, in my branch, in my office, and they're like, well, my church is against, like, the LGBTQ community. Like, if they show up, maybe my church will frown upon me. And these are fundamental questions as a workforce we need to have. So it starts small, and that's, I don't know, I just called because the UE interview was great, and I also was just giving you guys an update, so sorry to take your thing. But I also want to give a shout out to Greeby, who's in my office, and he listens all the time. And he was like, Murphy, I heard you on the podcast the other day. And I was like, yo, nice. So it's great. It's great that you guys have a great reach across all sectors of our population, of our workforce. So thank you, guys.
Great to hear it, John. Appreciate it, and good luck.
Yeah, appreciate it, brother. Love it when union members are taking initiative to get things going, right? Just moving things forward and bringing people together. I like that you're reaching out to community folks, and you're really, I think you're right on to talk about faith and how that is an important factor, especially down south. It is the Bible Belt. They don't call it that for no reason. And, faith and labor outreach is something we've really been thinking about as our labor council here in North Alabama. If you're not familiar with the Labor in the Pulpit program that the AFL-CIO sponsors, that is a great thing to check into. It's a way to kind of start small. Maybe just one or two of y'all can speak to a church group, some sort of faith-based group, between now and Labor Day. Typically, Labor Day is the big emphasis for this, but the synopsis of it is Labor in the Pulpit is an opportunity for labor union members and leaders to go engage with churches, mosques, temples, other faith-based organizations and groups. And it may be just giving like a 5-minute little speech to a Sunday school class or to the whole church. Or it could be something less formal than that. But the AFL-CIO does have a lot of resources out there online. They do regular check-ins and support for this program. It's something, I'm engaging with, and I would encourage others to engage with, because there are many, many faith traditions out there that are supportive of the rights of workers, all right? The rights of workers to organize, the rights of workers to have living wages, to bargain collectively. I would encourage you and everyone listening to be thinking about those kind of partners that we can find. They're out there, and in many cases, it's just going to take some conversations and relationship building. And the more allies we have, the better we'll be, because we can't just rely on just our union, right? Or just union folks, period, right? Because we are only 10% of the population at this point. So we need allies to protect us. We need allies to have our back. And ultimately, we're all in the same fight to defend the working class. So love the initiative, John.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.